financial freedom in America.
Dreams so big that they'll haunt you, or they'll calm you. That's how you know if you gotta go and get to win and not conquer. I had to go out and get it without a sponsor. Kept it real, never crooked, yeah, that's honor. Now I can go out and get it how I want to. Hashtag bless, I choose.
Oh, what is up, Rumble? What is up, YouTube? Thank you guys for joining the Ryan Matta Show this morning and smashing that like button. We got a great interview today. My good buddy, Hernando Arce, he's new to Bitcoin. He's a new Bitcoiner. We bought his first Bitcoin maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It might even be going on a month now. And since he's been on this steady crusade to just accumulate more and more Bitcoin, and he's taken every single piece of advice I've given him. And one of the pieces of advice was to use a company called Strike. It's what you're seeing over here on the cover photo. So Strike is a payment / a Bitcoin converter. So it allows you to take your paycheck and deposit it directly into Bitcoin. And what's weird about that, or unique about that, is I believe there's laws in the United States which make it illegal for an employer to pay you in anything but US dollars. So what this company does is it takes your paycheck, and I'm going to have Hernando dive into it. I've never used it because I don't get a 9-to-5 paycheck like you guys do. I don't have the option. But Hernando's taken a percentage of his paycheck and it converts it into Bitcoin. So it's not just they pay you in Bitcoin. You get your normal check from your job. It gets direct deposited, I believe, into Strike. And Strike allows you to convert whatever percentage you want into Bitcoin. And then the rest of your paycheck, I believe, goes into your bank account. But I'm going to bring Hernando on, let him introduce himself. Hernando, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing?
Hey, Ryan, it's an honor to be on your Crypto War Room show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to have you on here, brother. Me and Hernando go way back. We've been collaborating since the first time I went to an actual in-person protest that he was organizing down in San Antonio called Stop the Invasion. So that's when me and Hernando met probably almost a year ago now. I think that was last summer, wasn't it?
It's actually only been 6 months that I know you, Ryan.
Only 6 months?
Yeah.
No shit. When was the first time we came down there for that protest? Was that September of 23?
October 7th, 2023.
It was October. You're right. It wasn't the beginning of October, right for my birthday. Yep. So tell me a little bit about, tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience can know you a little bit, and then we'll dive into some Strike stuff.
Yes, sir. Well, like I was saying, I met you 6 months ago in San Antonio, Texas. I'm just a regular Joe guy working blue collar worker here in San Antonio. The invasion started with the illegal invasion at the border. As a citizen journalist, I took to my iPhone and started documenting the crisis at my city in San Antonio, and that's where we met. I've been doing that ever since. You can follow me on Rumble. I put all my videos there, as you just saw in that clip there, and I'm on X under Hernando Arce, Ryan.
Hernando, and I've also linked links to everything down below. And you've also started a couple of new channels. You got a new YouTube channel and a new Twitter as well. You're going by the Urban Crypto Cowboy over there on X. So I'll make sure I add those down. I'm actually going to add those in the actual pinned comments, but I left links to his main YouTube or his main Rumble and his main Twitter down below. When I first met Hernando, I probably tell everybody this story, and everybody's probably heard it 100 times, but Hernando didn't even have a Twitter when I first met him. He was out streaming on Facebook, and I looked at him like he was from a different planet. Like, man, what are you doing streaming over on Facebook, man? Ain't nobody's going to see your content over there. And he's like, what do you mean? And I kind of broke it down for him, and he jumped on X. And then I think at the time I was at like 16 or 15,000. And now, Hernando, what are you at now? Almost 25 or 30 now over on X?
Yeah, I'm around 25,000, and you're right. You know, every advice Ryan has given me, I've taken action, and I've done it. And he's been a blessing in disguise, man. Not in disguise, but he's been a blessing in my life, because he got me to where I can document the invasion properly. And I got a lot of eyeballs looking at it. Even my Attorney General Ken Paxton follows me on X. There it is. And the clips are raw, uncensored, and the truth. And this is news that the legacy media will not give you. So I owe a lot to Ryan for helping me with that.
Man, well, you're out there putting in the work that no, I tell 9 out of 10 people the same thing, and you seem to be the only one that actually takes the advice, and it's panning out very well for you. I mean, you're now monetized on X. You're now having a second source of income, or maybe a third. I don't know how many businesses you have, but you've added an extra stream of income, and it seems like you're doing everything you can to start adopting Bitcoin. So when was the first time that you heard about Bitcoin? Yeah, man, it really is. And I think you're right. I think everybody should be skeptical. I think that's kind of the first phase. You're kind of like a denier in the very beginning, and then you become a skeptic, right? And then you become, you know, an adopter. And I think that that's just natural. And I think that if you skip over any of those, you're probably going to you're not going to fare as well in this space, because when I come to you and I say, hey, you should buy Bitcoin, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay. And you just go out and buy it. When the next person comes and tells you that you should go buy Shiba Inu, right? You're going to go, oh yeah, okay, I should buy it. Really? That skeptical thing is good. And I think that that's, you know, I mean, our ancestors didn't get here from just, you know, taking advice from everybody, you know, back in the day, you know, as we evolved, it was the people that were skeptical that stayed alive. Those that didn't drank the Kool-Aid, you know? So,
yes.
So what is it, what has it been like now since, what was that defining moment when you're like, okay, yeah, I need to stop being a skeptic to like, I'm just going to start putting money at this and kind of learn as I go?
Well, you know, watching your shows helped a lot, Ryan, because I trust you and you got a wealth of knowledge over 10 years in the business of cryptocurrency. So just having you as a friend that I could just call and text was, I think, what got me over the hurdle to go ahead and take action. And then the fact that SEC, Security Exchange Commission, in January, they didn't give their blessings because they were pushed into doing so by the courts. But it's now on in Wall Street with ETFs, electronically transferred funds. And I'm learning all this through your channel, through your videos. So once the SEC said, okay, and how it's taken off on the ETFs, that was like, okay, it's time to go now. It's not going anywhere. It will never go back to zero in terms of value. And that's when I hooked up with you, Ryan.
Yeah, it was awesome. Hernando reached out and he's like, I'm ready. I'm like, all right, let's do it. I think it was a 2-hour phone call our first night, and we had got you a few cryptocurrencies, mainly Bitcoin. And then the last 3 times, you're just adding specifically to your Bitcoin bag, which I think is really the smartest play, right? You know, a vast majority of your portfolio should be in this thing called Bitcoin, because when you start generating enough wealth, I think you get to a point where you're like this asset's going to go up 10x, right? So everything else is literally just a hope, right? You're hoping that the team develops, you're hoping that the technology gets adopted, you're hoping on a lot, where Bitcoin is just, you don't have to hope anymore. It's like, I want to buy as much of this as humanly possible, which has now led you to converting a percentage of your paycheck. So can you walk us through what is Strike? Like, when I try to describe it, I know I've never used it, so it's hard for me to describe it. How do you describe this software? I lost your audio, Hernando, for some reason. Yep, there you go. Oh, you came back for a second, but then it went out again. You might have to leave the program and try to come back really quick. You're frozen on my end, so I'll let you. I know I've been having a little bit of issues with the internet on my end, so you might have to leave and come back really quick. Let me disconnect Hernando from the link, and we'll get him a new link here. It's showing that he has perfect internet too. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get him in here. I'm going to create a new link for him. Thank you guys for sticking with us. It happens when we're live. It always happens, actually. So just give us 2 seconds, and we'll have Hernando back in here. I'm going to send him a new link real quick. This Strike company is really awesome. I was so excited. This is probably one of the interviews I've been most excited for. I've talked about this company so many times, but nobody's ever actually used it, especially used it that I can actually interview. So complete anarchy will ensure after 72 hours of no power. Yeah, if there's no power, you need lead, right? And then when power comes back on, and the odds of them like shutting off power on a global scale, I mean, even the elite wouldn't allow that to happen, because then the elite couldn't control you. Like, they would have no police officers to protect them. Their bodyguards would stop working. Like, you think about that, when they cut off power, right? How are you paying your soldiers? You think your soldiers are going to work for these dollars that you printed out of thin air? I hope you got a big bag of coins in your gold coins in your purse. And even then, I think your bodyguards will leave you behind. The politicians will have nobody to protect them. They'll have no way to coordinate anything. I don't see power ever going out. And even if it does, you got people that run off solar generators. There's people in the rainforest over in Africa that are literally mining Bitcoin out of streams where they built generators on streams. So the last thing you should be worried about is power. You should be worried about food. Most people I think that worry about power are people that are like, they just don't have any money to put money into Bitcoin. So they're just using excuses to try to make themselves feel better about why they're not buying Bitcoin. And then they try to convince other people because they're jealous because they're watching those people thrive. Like every single person. I was explaining this to Sarah Maccabee last night, and me and Hernando were talking about it when right before he got on here. Let me see what. Maybe Hernando's phone died or something. But me and Hernando were talking about this, and I was telling this to Sarah Maccabee last night. I said, so Bitcoin has accumulated or gained or grown in value by 192% every year until 2023, right? And then I think we had a lull year there, and then it's already back up like 200 or 300% this year. So let's just say 192% per year. But let's say the experts right now are saying that they're predicting a 48% year after year. So that's compounding interest, right? So that means if like, say you make $100,000 a year, how many people out there spend $10,000 a year on stupid stuff? Whether that's vaping, whether that's candy, whether that's a coffee from Starbucks that's $8 when you could have got the dollar one at the gas station. How many of us probably now in Biden America, $10,000, like it probably wouldn't be too hard to save $10,000. So you put $10,000 in the bank today because you stopped going out to the bar and you put 10K away. In 1 year at a 48% compounding interest, your 1K or your 10K turns into 14.8. The second year, 14.8 turns into 21.9K. Your third year is 32.4K and your fourth year is 48K. So today you put $10,000 into Bitcoin. 4 years from now, you have a new car. You put $10,000 into US dollars in your bank. Today, you might be able to buy a beater used car with 100,000 miles. 4 years from now, you probably won't even be able to buy the tires in the door, for that car 4 years from now, because your dollars are getting exponentially weaker while Bitcoin is growing exponentially in value. There he is. My man Hernando is back. Let me just add him back to the scenes here, folks, and we'll be back in just a second. Coming at you live, my man Hernando. Welcome back to the party, my friend. Hold on one second. I can't hear you yet, but we will be able to hear you here in 2 seconds. There he is. My man, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, it sounds much better. So tell us now, what is Strike? How do you describe Strike?
Well, Strike is, I describe it kind of similar to Cash App or one of those Venmo accounts. It was very easy to set up. They ask you your typical questions. I think they ask for a driver's license because you're dealing with a bank now. So when you go to a local bank, you're expected to give your social security number. You're expected to give ID. It's the same thing with these apps. So you have to get out of your little comfort zone. You're not signing up to a social app. You got to give specific information for your security, So it was easy to set up. The app didn't cost anything. The app is free. And then when I wanted to send money from my paycheck, I had to give my company, my payroll department, the routing number and the bank account number. I think they're based somewhere in the Northeast, the bank for Strike. And it was that easy. My company called me. They said, okay, now we got your email because I had to send it by email. They make it very easy at the app where they just give you like a link and you just send a link to your company. And so my company received the email. They said, okay, how much do you want? What percentage was the only question? Mm-hmm. What percentage of your salary do you want to go into this to this other depository? And I said 20%. I want to start off with 20% of my income going straight into crypto, into Bitcoin, Ryan.
So show me what you had sent me a couple screenshots. Let me throw this first one on the screen here. What are we looking at here?
This is my pay stub, 2-week pay stub. And you can see I blocked out some personal information, like my address, but there it is that the arrow shows exactly how much went straight into Strike and how much of that money was converted into Bitcoin. When Strike receives it, they convert it into Bitcoin. And I don't believe they charge a fee for this, which is another amazing.
No
Uh,
way.
yeah, I think they only charge a fee when you withdraw it or when you transfer it of some sort, exchange it to something else. So, yeah,
So
no,
so you have your own wallet. You have your own Bitcoin wallet on Strike, correct? Is that what
yes,
I'm hearing? And I think that's what this
yes,
is right here. This is showing your BTC balance now.
hmm yes.
Wow.
There, yeah, and it's very user friendly app. You could buy, sell, and you get your own, wallet address. Those
Mhm.
25 different numbers and
Yep.
letters. I actually put it in my videos when I do my coverage of at the border, and people can donate to my Bitcoin Strike account. And I've gotten donations already from people who've donated Bitcoin to my account. So yes, it's pretty amazing, man, and I'm excited because for everybody watching this, and you're a blue collar worker like myself. Now, I come from a traditional real estate background for 28 years, but right
Mhm.
now I'm working as a chauffeur. Anyone looking watching this video and says, "I don't, I'm just a regular guy, 9 to 5 guy," this app will give you the opportunity, the liberty, the freedom to start investing as much as you want. So there's no reason, there is no excuse now that says I don't know how I'm not tech friendly. You don't need to be tech friendly. All you need is a routing number and an account number to give to your payroll department. You can start investing in Bitcoin today. And that's what Ryan is doing. He's blowing the horn. He's waving at you and saying, "Get on the boat. Here is the life preserver. Get on the boat." And thank God I listened to Ryan because this is going to be my retirement fund, Ryan. I mean, I'm a little older than you, and so I had to start thinking about retirement because Social Security is not going to be solvent in 10
Nope.
years. It's $175 trillion in unfunded liabilities. $175 trillion.
No, that was a couple months ago, Hernando. It's 207
Oh,
now, or 210
uh,
trillion.
yeah, there
That's
you
how
go. It's
fast
over.
it's going up. Like the
Uh,
last time you looked at that, it was 176 trillion because you're the second person
mm,
now that said that exact same thing. And I pulled it
okay.
up a couple days ago and I was like, holy crap. I'll double check that. But think about that, man. Like, what do you think it is that like you watch
Mm,
your government just approve and the Republicans are supposed to be the adults in the room. They're supposed to be the one who, if you're, McCarthy, if we give your kid a credit card and he maxes it out, do you just pay off the balance and increase his spending limit? No, you cut that credit card up until he learns how to
mm,
spend money responsibly, right? Like that was what the Republicans promised us. And last month they spent last week they approved a
mm,
$1.2 trillion spending bill, which was for podcasting, bondage, tuck friendly apparel, Latinx
mm.
businesses, none of which is going to make our lives any better. Like, how does that make you feel? Like you said, you don't have Social Security, you have nothing to depend on.
No, right. Every time they spend like drunken sailors, the value of Bitcoin, the digital property of Bitcoin currency is going to go up.
Mhm.
So as they do that, now that I'm a player in this Bitcoin, every time they do that, I'm guaranteed my investment is going to go up.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that opportunity a month ago. I just signed up to Bitcoin last month.
Hmm.
But now I have hope. I have hope for my life. I haven't been this excited in my life. Unfortunately, it's sad to say that, but for 10 years or so. But now I'm given a second chance um, for financial freedom and for financial safety. And so, yeah, what's happening in DC is disgusting. The $35 trillion we're in debt. We'll never get out of that. And the currency, the dollars, is, as you see, the fiat currency is gonna crash. And so you need to be prepared, Americans.
So Hernando, like I was just quoting. I was quoting 207 trillion because that was the last time I looked.
Hmm.
Now it's 214 trillion. Like
Oh God.
that. So to put that into perspective for you guys that don't understand what those unfunded liabilities are, that is money from this government. Like they've been taking your Social Security, they've been taking your Medicare. Like they are taking your money. They are supposed to save that money so that they can use it to compound interest, right? And generate wealth so that way they can continue to pay out year over year. They would have to tax each and every one of us $636,000 in your lifetime just to pay off the unfunded liabilities, money that they've already guaranteed to
Mm,
pay out to American citizens. And I think a lot of that had to do with what happened during COVID. I think there was a reason that
mm,
this thing targeted the old and elderly, right? Like how many people do you think that they knocked off of collecting a Social
mm,
Security check during COVID?
mm. Yeah, COVID was a wake-up call. These are all wake-up calls, Americans. What they did to us during the vaccine, during the wearing the masks, shutdowns, they destroyed the economy. COVID did not destroy the economy. COVID has a 99% survival rate. And I know that because I was out there. I'm a happy warrior, just like Ryan is. I was out there fighting the system, and I have it all on my Rumble account. So
Yep.
there's receipts to it. I was, not going with that vaccine. They were vaccinating the children. I was at those school board meetings. And so these are all signs that we need to get out of the system that we're in. That's just matrix. We have to get out of the matrix, Ryan.
Yep.
And so I want to be that happy warrior, just like you're that happy warrior, to tell the public. And this is what God has sent us to as information warriors to the public.
Where do you see the adoption? Like, I know there was a point, we've been out there on the front lines, right? Like trying to organize these protests. And, for 2 months, I'm over here promoting this protest, and you're down there on the streets promoting it. Like, and we had a good 10 or 20 of us that were out there consistently promoting this Stop the Invasion protest. And we go down to Florida, and there's 35 girls that show up, right? And like, I mainly was like reaching out to dudes, and, so then like 10 guys. Like, there was like nobody. Like, I'm traveling all the way from another state to come down here and help defend Texas, and I can't even get more than 45 people out there. So seeing how catastrophic the invasion is, and how, like, if like let's just say in Tennessee, right? That seems to be the new state that they're just driving these migrants to. We know the damage, right? We've seen what happened in New York, Chicago, LA. Like, it is catastrophic. Even smaller towns in suburban areas in Wisconsin that took 1,000 migrants and increased their population by 10%. Women getting raped, children getting kidnapped. I mean, it is damn bad. So any state that takes migrants at this point is like just committing self-suicide. But yet it's happening. So looking at Bitcoin and knowing that if you continue to use US dollars, you're committing financial suicide. What are the odds that like enough people, because there's 25% of Americans right now, based off of recent surveys, own Bitcoin, 25%. So that means there's 75% of this country out there that we need to get on this Bitcoin standard. What do you think the odds of us doing that in a short period of time are? Do you think it's possible, or do you think it's going to take a long time for people to really wake up, and like you have to have migrants taking a shit in your front lawn and 2 in the back showering in your swimming pool for you to like realize that you're fucked?
Well, Ryan, that's a great question. I actually Googled that. I wanted to know how many Americans own Bitcoin, and it was 25%, like you said. I was surprised at that. I thought it was going to be less, to be honest with you. So that's good. I think 25% is not bad for a currency that is in its infancy. It's just a teenager. It's only been around 15 years, and it's gone through a lot of, what do you call those? Pain
Cycles.
points,
Yep. Ups and downs.
cycles. Yeah. And so what is it going to take? I don't know. I think I think the majority of Americans are still, unfortunately, not going to adopt to Bitcoin. Unfortunately, there are 10,000 baby boomers that retire every day in our country. Every day, 10,000 baby boomers. So I'm part of the millennial generation. So I'm a little bit more able to technology savvy, I guess you want to say. I think the younger generations have definitely woken up to this mindset of a different currency. But this, you still have time, and I'm just like you, Ryan. Everyone I talk to, even strangers today, I don't even know, at the counter buying my coffee, I tell them buy Bitcoin.
Yep.
Because I've gotten out of the matrix system, and I see what's happening, and we're just yelling it as loud as we can to everybody, all your audience. Now is the time. Do it now. We're giving you the life preserver. Go to Strike, download the app, and start putting your wages, your weekly wages. You're in the matrix like I am, and start putting your money away. Do a little bit of leveraging. Do something, and that's Ryan. That's. I'm from a real estate background, and I got a real estate property. We could talk about that. What's happened to that in terms of
Yeah.
buying real estate compared to Bitcoin?
I want to emphasize on that point that Hernando hit there, right? Like, he's saying that, like, right now, I went on to Coinbase and I taught you guys, if you guys go down in the description, you can go find the video that I have to Coinbase, where I teach you guys how to use Coinbase and how to buy your first Bitcoin. And I buy $20. And I think they charged me like a $2 something, $2 fee or 2.5 cent fee, which was about, what was it, like 7.5, almost 8%. So that means if you put $1,000 in, they're going to take 8% of that in fees, just Coinbase, just to buy the Bitcoin, not even to take it off the exchange and take it to a wallet you own, where you're going to pay an additional fee for the miners to move your Bitcoin from one address to the next. Strike is taking your paycheck from the sounds of it, and they are converting it right into Bitcoin. They're doing all this via the Lightning Network. So it's like you can literally send Bitcoin on the Lightning Network for fractions of a penny, which allows them to move Bitcoin from their wallet to your wallet instantaneously. And then when you want to take it off the exchange, you just have to pay that fee for the miner to move it. Jack's really put together an amazing business, and this is going to literally onboard. Like, how many people want to buy Bitcoin, but they don't want to pay the fees? You buy a couple $100 worth, you're still paying those fees, whether you're using Cash App or any of these other platforms. Most of them charge you insane high fees. I think we get to a point where your bank doesn't allow you to, right? We've seen it happen in Canada. We've seen it happen in countries over in Europe. What's stopping Joe Biden from signing an executive order saying, you know, Bitcoin's becoming a threat. It's making the financial industry unstable. We're going to prevent you from buying it. So like, while you have the chance, it's ever so important for you. And it sounds like that, looking over here too, there's a buy and sell button. So it looks like outside of his normal paycheck, you're actually able to go over here and directly buy via direct deposit on your bank. Is that correct, Hernando?
Yes, I've already tried that part of the app. I bought Bitcoin via my own personal checking account. You could do a savings account too. So I did that transfer. I bought some Bitcoin just to test out the system, and it worked really simple. No problems. You could buy, you could sell. I actually used the app just like Cash App to transfer some of my money that was in my bank account into Strike, just to have it on the cash. So you have a cash portal and you have a Bitcoin portal on Strike. And so I just tested that too, and it transferred $100 into $100 USD to my Strike account. The beautiful thing is, once it was in my Strike account, the $100 USD, I transferred it from my app, the US dollar, to Bitcoin. So, because I don't have any faith in the dollar, so I said, why do I have $100? It was a $100 test in my dollars. Let's transfer it to Bitcoin, and just transferred it over. So that was pretty awesome.
Man,
Yes.
that's so. It's like
Jack.
Explain that feeling. What is it like when you start to understand Bitcoin? And it's like almost like you're taking your financial freedom back. Can you explain? Like, I've never been this happy, never been this excited. What is it that's making you so excited?
Jeez, man, that's a great question. Just to know that the government is trying to kill us. You know that, right, audience?
Fact.
They're trying to kill us. They try to kill us with the vaccine. China try to kill us with this virus. They put in chemicals in our food. They put in the vaccine RNA gene therapy in our food. There's bio your Oreo cookies. Look at your box of Oreo cookies, guys. It says bio ingredients, man-made bio ingredients. That's poison. So just to know that, okay, let me see. The government is trying to kill me. They're trying to destroy the dollar. They got me in this matrix as a slave, which we're being replaced by illegals every day. I'm at the center. I call it the American Replacement Center for a reason, Americans. And I'm seeing it every day when I go out to dinner. The last 3 waitresses I interviewed at a restaurant are all Venezuelans. They've been here for less than a year. Cuban and Venezuelan waitresses. They're here illegal. I know they're here illegally. So the government is not collecting taxes on those people, because these restaurant owners are doing it under the table. So you got 10,000 American retiring a day, baby boomers. So to answer your question, how does it make me feel? I feel like I'm getting over the system. Finally, I'm getting over the system. They're not getting over me anymore. I'm getting over them, because this digital currency, this digital property is not centralized. They can't fiat it. They can't keep printing it. This is privately owned through blockchains all over the world. And only a small percentage of people in this planet, 8 billion people in the planet, own it. Even the millionaires, only less than 1% of millionaires and billionaires own it. The fact that there's $900 trillion in wealth in the world, and only a fraction of 1% are invested in Bitcoin, it's just a no-brainer. And I came to that revelation watching your shows, Ryan. So thank you.
No, man. Thank you, man. That's the whole point of, that's why I was trying so hard to build this studio out. And I've been working on it for like 4 months. We're like, oh, you're just getting back into crypto because the bull runs. I'm like, no, suckers. Like I was planning to be back here about 4 months ago, but my damn studio just kept taking longer and longer and longer and longer. I can't afford to pay people to do everything. So I had to build this whole thing myself. And it's a lot of work when you actually are running the cables and the wires and everything. It's wild. Yeah. But you had said a few things there, and I want to dive into them. Like the government, basically, they're not here to help you. They're not here to better your life. And then you realize that everything that's wrong with our government all revolves around money, right? Like this, if you were to dial it in and like hone it in, it's money. And then when you start really asking yourself, like, what is money? Like money is just the medium of exchange. It's just a store of value, right? And then when you realize that, like, I don't need to use dollars. I could use a credit card. I could use euros. I could use pesos, right? Like, but at the end of the day, you want to store your wealth in whatever investment vehicle that's going to preserve your wealth. It's why you've seen when you went to Mexico, 10, 20 years ago, I remember my parents going there with like $100 and like they were tipping just $1 for everything that they got, right? But that dollar to the people in Mexico was worth like $5. Like our currencies were so much more valuable. So even the citizens in these other countries were saving in dollars because it preserved their wealth, right? They could buy a lot more with a US dollar than they could with a peso. So it's the hardest currency. And that all revolves back around to Bitcoin being incorruptible. It is the first technology, the first anything man-made that is not corruptible. Like, how do you put a value on something that's so like profound to think about? For once in human history, for the first time in human history, there has been this thing that is incorruptible. Money can't corrupt it. Power can't corrupt it. Technology can't corrupt it. Time can't corrupt it, right? It is just the hardest asset, which makes it the greatest store of value with a finite supply. Only 21 million of them out there. The amount that's been lost puts us down between, I've heard numbers as low as 14 million, but people now are for some reason saying 17 million, which is, so there's only 17 million of this thing that you can buy. The rest are lost or stolen. Or how many people do you think died from COVID that were holding on to 0.1 or 0.2 Bitcoin, right? And they didn't tell their friends or family about their keys. That's gone. It's gone. So like we have this thing that's incorruptible. Like, how do you value that? Where do you think that this is going to be priced at, 5 years from now?
Well, I'm no analyst, and yes, I've been orange pilled. And when I say orange pilled, I don't mean Donald J. Trump, orange man.
Orange mad.
Orange man. This is orange man, orange pill. Awesome. This is orange pill. Great. And I already started buying my Bitcoin cap. I ordered it on Amazon and stuff like that. So I'm part of the family now, and it's so interesting when I watch these videos and watching guys like Michael Saylor, and these other different. They're just all from different backgrounds. You got the hippies, like the surfer dudes, and you got these coders and these tech guys, these nodders, and then you have it's just an array of people, and these are people of action. These are like you. You're a man of action. You're an alpha male like me. I'm an alpha male, but these are people that are happy and happy to be part of this new family, because it is like a family. I'm going to a halving event here in Texas next month. They're going to have a big party. And so I didn't tell you that about that, but I'll be going to that. But to answer your question, I've actually forgot the question, but where are we going? Oh, where are we going?
Yeah, 5 years.
I don't know in terms of dollars. 5 years, I would expect the Bitcoin in terms of value to go to, the experts are saying 150, 200,000 this year. I could see easily going to 1 million, because it's just a matter of supply and demand. It's supply and demand. And again, most of these institutional or financial organizations have not adopted it. Only BlackRock, and he's happy as hell, Mr. Fink. He saw an interview last week. He was like a little teenager, happy and giddy. And then you have like another one, BlackRock and Fidelity. Those are the main ones. But even the Wall Street hasn't adopted it. So imagine once it becomes the norm. It's sky's the limit. It's going to go to the moon, Ryan, and then from the moon, it's going to go to Mars.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree, man. I think everything you're saying, man, is just gassing me up, because it's such a liberating feeling when you take that freedom back from your government. You take that power that they've used to manipulate you, enslave you, devalue your wealth, your family's wealth. Just think about that. Like, we've let these people not work for anything, not produce anything of value. They've destroyed our country, and they've done so off the backs of the American taxpayer by extorting, cheating, lying, stealing, manipulating the value of our wealth. And now we introduce this thing in a sly, roundabout way that nobody can stop, nobody can corrupt. And I think it was really eye-opening when you've seen Gary Cardone go, yeah, you know what Elizabeth Warren thinks about Bitcoin? It doesn't matter. And this dude on my show is giving the double barrel middle finger to Elizabeth Warren, and I'm going, dude, the game has changed. The game has changed. We're no longer
Great
listening to
interview.
Pocahontas or giving her any value whatsoever. It's the exact opposite. These people are like, fuck you. Bitcoin adoption only makes up for 12% of it. America used to make up for like 88% or something like that of all Bitcoin transactions on the network. Today it's 12%. And that's because our government has just gutted it, right? Like Gary Gensler, the rat weasel, and the bastards like him have just corrupted the system so bad that every Bitcoin company or business now has left the United States, went to a Bitcoin friendly, country. And now these people are starting to backroll politicians in these foreign countries, right? Like you want to be elected, you want to get into office. Well, cool. The Bitcoin network's going to put you there. And it's like, you see, like the wealth is insane. Imagine mining. You could go onto a website and get 5 Bitcoin for free in 2012 by doing like the captions. Like you were training their AI and their captions to tell the difference between humans. So you just go there for like hours and fill out these captions, and you just get a little bit, a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit, all this free Bitcoin. You get up to 5 free Bitcoin. And think about these people got thousands of them. I mean, when I first got in, you could get 5 Bitcoin for under $1,000. I mean, that was a hell of a fucking deal, dude. Yeah. And just thinking about that, like these people bought, like now we're throwing around 10,000, 15,000, like it's no big deal. But in reality, like some of these people are getting in it like, under $1. And now they have so much wealth that they like, it's all about money. Like politics, he who owns the Bitcoin controls the politicians. You control the networks, you control the lobbyists, you control the politicians. And then eventually you just, this secular layer builds around Bitcoin where for once you can do things with Bitcoin that you can't with fiat because you can track it, right? So you have the ability to track every single transaction. You also have the ability to know where, like imagine if our politicians were responsible for displaying every penny that they spent. You would, when in like, let's say war, for example. War is probably my favorite one because we're at a point where it looks like we're going into World War III. So if before Joe Biden started supplying weapons to Ukraine, right? He wanted to send $250 billion worth of ammunition over to Ukraine. In order to generate wealth to do that, he would have had to increase taxes by probably 25 or 30%. So on a Bitcoin standard, politicians go to raise taxes by 20 or 30%. What happens? You have a revolution. You don't have your citizens going, oh yeah, like tax us 30% so we can pay the Ukraine pensions. It just would never happen, right? So the second he would have suggested it, it would have been revolution. He would have been removed from office and we would have put Trump back in office. But with dollars, they literally can print these things out of thin air and fund whatever war they want. And they devalue your wealth through inflation versus through taxation, which it's really the same thing. It's still theft either way you look at it. But Bitcoin disincentivizes wars. It actually incentivizes peace because you're actually better off, when you have common ground, right? Or your values align with somebody, you're much more likely to get along with them. So like when we all start saving in Bitcoin, these other countries start adopting the Bitcoin standard, it actually incentivizes peace. It almost removes all incentivizations for there to be a war whatsoever. Because when you take over a king and you kill him, you normally get his gold, right? But when you take over a king and you kill him, if you didn't get his Bitcoin address from him before you put that bullet in him, well, you ain't getting none of that Bitcoin. So outside of the land and whatever else you get out of it, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a weird way to look at it.
Yeah, beautifully said, Ryan. And do what you say the Ryan way. And you're absolutely right. I think you mentioned before, this is God's currency. Really God's currency. And we just finished having Easter celebration. So yeah, every angle you look at this digital property, I like to call it digital property because I come from a real estate property background. And great interview, by the way, with Gary Cardone, which, by the way, guys, it's not Grant Cardone. I made the mistake. I thought it was Grant Cardone. He has a brother. I didn't even know he had a brother until this week. Like, he doesn't talk about his brother, Gary. Smart guy. He's out there in Miami with like his brother Grant. And in an interview you did, which I put it on my Twitter account, he said, he said 70. He even buying it at, because he bought it very cheap, obviously. But even he said in the interview, he said buying it at 70,000 is even a better timing than buying it before. So it made me feel good because I just bought a big deposit at 70,000 per Bitcoin, and that's even if he says that's a steal, then I feel I didn't need his blessings, but I feel better now too. So great job with his interview, Ryan, for sure.
So you had mentioned, and thank you, by the way, you had mentioned real estate, right? So I use your example because it's such a good one of when you have squatters and you have real estate that you thought was going to be this passive income stream. You know, and we were raised, go to school, get a good job, buy real estate, right? If you can buy real estate and rent out a place, you know, it's the ultimate American dream because somebody else is paying your mortgage for you, right? So you basically fled New York, communist New York, for a better life, and you kept real estate. So tell us a little bit about your real estate property. What's going on up there?
Yes, just to give it a backdrop, I have 28 years of real estate experience. I was born and raised in New York City, so I did, retail real estate in 1995 when the internet was born. That's how old I am. And I was doing that for many years. I did really well in real estate until 2007 when the housing collapse happened. And a lot of people like to blame Wall Street for that collapse. Now, Wall Street had a hand in that collapse, but you know who the ultimate hand who collapsed that market, the real estate market, was the government. Something called the Community Reinvestment Act, which started back during Carter, was reintroduced during Clinton and went on steroids during Bush. And that basically told all these major financial banks, your traditional banks on the corner stores, that they need to open up branches and start giving loans to people that did not have credit worthy people. And they're the ones, the government was the ones that created the housing collapse, not Wall Street. Wall Street, greed is good, like, Michael from the movie Wall Street. Yes, greed is a human nature, but the ones who prepared that was the government. That's the first thing I want to talk to you about, right? The second thing is I lost my whole portfolio of real estate in 2007. I was driving a Bentley, a company car, but it was still a Bentley. I was selling 30 homes a month. 30 homes a month I was selling in New York. I was the top producer in 3 states, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. So I was on boots on the ground like I am with this invasion, boots on the ground. I was part of that whole craziness with countrywide banks and everything like that. And then within one day, I had lost my job. They took my cell phone. They took my laptop because it was all company issue. They took my car in one day. And then, of course, in the next few months, I lost my portfolio of real estate because I learned a new word. It was called over-leveraged. Over-leveraged. I was over-leveraged. I lost all my properties except one, which I still have. It's a townhouse condo in Brooklyn, and I still hold on to that one. To get to the story of the different assets of real estate and Bitcoin. As a landlord who's out of town, unfortunately, tenants take advantage of that, and it's ruthless. The laws in New York City is ruthless when it comes to landlord protection. They favor the tenant. I've had a tenant there this May, which is next month, goes to 2 years that the tenant has not paid my rent. Not only not pay my rent, they ruined my unit, my property, by creating havocs with plumbing, electrical, and roofing issues. And they created the problem. They destroyed the property with their hands. And then they call a city, and then they report me as a landlord for having a decrepit apartment unit, right? And now I have to go in there and fix the problems while these tenants are living there rent free. And so this happens to hundreds and thousands of landlords in New York City. You see it in the news every day, these fucking squatters taking advantage. But this is a squatter that knows the system, and a lot of them know how to work the system. They're giving free lawyers. I'm not giving a lawyer. I paid thousands of dollars in lawyer fees, and I'm still dealing with it. Right now, as we do this interview, they are still there. And they destroyed my unit. I had to go in there and fix it out of my pocket. And I'm still waiting to get them out. Hopefully, God willing, I'll get them out next month. And then I'm going to renovate the unit and see if I'll sell the unit and buy Bitcoin. So that's the only thing I'm looking forward to, Ryan. But yeah, you definitely could use my case as an example of the difference between being a landlord and buyer. You got to pay taxes, you got to pay insurance, you got to pay common fees. It's been very difficult. So these are they don't tell you that this during these real estate guru shows, right? That real estate is a great investment. Yes, for if you're going to be a primary residency, yeah, fine. If you could afford a house today, which most Americans can't. But no, I'd rather take my money from this property and buy Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will be my retirement. I don't have to worry about 12 p.m. midnight people calling me about a broken toilet bowl. You don't have broken toilet bowls with crypto. You don't have broken toilet bowls with Bitcoin, Ryan.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and it's Sarah was talking to Sarah Maccabee last night too, and I was telling the story that when your mic went, or when your connection went out there and you left, I was telling them the story about 10,000 in 1 year at 48% interest turns into 14.8. Year 2 it's 21,000. Year 3 it's 32,000. Year 4 it's 48,000. think about that as a parent, right? You got to buy your child their first car, right? So you put $10,000 in the bank today, right? That in let's say you start putting away when they're 10 and they turn 16, you want to buy them their first car. So over 6 years, you put 10,000 in the first year, right? By year 2 at a 10% debasement value, the used car that they want to buy just got 10% more expensive, or right? So your 10,000 is really only worth 9, and then the next year you lose another 10%, right? So now you're down to 881, and then you use another one that's 7.2, right? And you're just constantly devaluing your purchasing power. So by the time they're 16, that used car that was, let's just say 12,000 is now technically 16 or 18,000. I mean, and your dollars have gained absolutely nothing. They might have even lost. I mean, there at one point interest rates were negative. So people were out there literally paying the banks. Like I remember Elon being like, I can't keep my money in Europe, in banks in Europe, because when we get paid for our Teslas, we're paying them to take our money. And then they use what's called fractional reserve banking. So whatever you deposit, they take 90% of that, and then they loan it out to somebody else. And then the next bank takes 90%, and they loan it out and loan it out and loan it out. And next thing you know, like your $100,000 or your $10,000 actually was divided up between like 10 different banks, and they've lent maybe, hundreds of thousands of dollars into existence, which is why they're supposed to be paying you interest, because you give them your money. When you deposit it, you say, okay, this is no longer my money, right? You're getting an IOU from the bank, which is your receipt that they technically owe you that, but it is not your money anymore. The second you put it into your bank, it no longer is your currency. You sign that contract, and if you read the fine print, they say under a bail-in circumstance, right, where basically there is no more money to pay you out, the banks have the ability to take all of your money and keep it. It happened in, I forget, it wasn't Greece. It might have been Greece. It was somewhere. I forget when they did that, and they did a bail-in, and the banks took all their money, and people had nothing. It was just nothing. So like to think that that's not going to happen now, it's crazy. And like I said, you're never going to get ahead saving in fiat dollars. And as soon as you start saving in Bitcoin, everything around you begins to get exponentially cheaper. And a lot of people go, well, if they're not going to spend Bitcoin, right? If it's such a good demand asset, everybody's going to want to hodl it, right? They're going to want to hold on to it, and they're never going to spend it. And then, the economy is going to die. People are going to lose their jobs. And I go, what person do you know that takes $10,000 and puts it into the bank, and then 4 years from now has $50,000 and doesn't go, wow, like the more money I get, the more money I spend on stupid shit, right? So it's like, as you start to acquire wealth, there might be a period of transition where you like right now, everything I look at, I'm like, oh man, that's 500 sats or 1,500 sats. Every dollar is 1,500 satoshis, right? So $5 is almost 5,000 or 7,500 satoshis. So it's like, do I really want that Starbucks cup of coffee, or do I want to go buy, 5,000 satoshis? And there's people out there that are saying satoshis are going to be worth $1 one day, which is crazy. That means one Bitcoin will be worth 100 million. Do you see a point where like every politician starts to choose to adopt the Bitcoin standard? Do you see us like really going to a point? Do you think that, I should put it this way, do you think that Bitcoin's going to make the dollar stronger, and these politicians are going to try to back the US dollar with Bitcoin? Or do you think we kind of just transition off of the dollar into Bitcoin?
Great question. I think there'll be two sets of currencies. I think we're moving. The reason these politicians are spending like drunken sailors is because they know they're going to be going from the dollar to a digital currency. So they're going to reset. It's going to be a reset down the line. Start over again, but it's going to be digitalized. So you're going to have digital US fiat. It's still fiat because they just keep digitalizing it. And then you're going to have the Bitcoin. So you're going to have two different currencies working simultaneously, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing and from what I'm reading. Yes, sir. And, yep.
What do you think is going to happen over the next couple of months with everything that's going on around the country? We see what the Biden administration is up to, how they're spending money. They have no. It's like they're not even hiding it anymore. They made yesterday, Easter holiday, one of the most religious holidays of the year, into Transvisibility Day. Like, was such a just an evil, satanic move. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to have a false flag? Do you think we're making it to the 2024 election?
Well, I think looking at the polls, Trump is up in every state that I've seen, and knowing how the DC and the cabal works. They're going to try to stop him from getting to the election, and to be getting back into the White House. So something they're gonna pull something, right? We don't know if it was what happened with that shipment that it was in Baltimore. I mean, because that shipment had, by the way, 300 containers of hazardous material. So was it just to knock down the bridge, or was it to explode those 300 containers of hazardous material in those containers to cause like a nuclear bomb? People don't talk about that.
Mhm.
So that maybe the job was half done in Baltimore, but they have something because they're evil. They have something up the sleeve. Is it the invasion with all these illegals and these and jihadists that are here already, waiting for the okay to start destroying our country with explosions and bombs? Um, Whatever happens, knowing that I'm now leveraged with some Bitcoin, at least I can sleep a little bit better at night. And I don't sleep too well because of what I do with this illegal invasion documentation that you and I are aware of. We talk, I share my videos with you every day. It's very depressing. It's very depressing, and it gets to me. And thank God I took the weekend off during Easter because being there is sad. It's sad to see what's happened to our country. Um, and so this Bitcoin has given me a new breath of life, and that's the only way I can describe it. What will happen? This is going to be an interesting year. It's interesting. It's an interesting time to be alive, as well. As long as you use it for the better, for the better of the American people, and that's what I try to do with my videos. I try to show illumination leads to elimination. Illuminate to eliminate, and I want
Mhm.
to eliminate evil. This is a fight between good and evil, Brian. And right now, Bitcoin is good, and the dollar is evil.
It really is. It really is. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to have a false flag attack over the next?
Yeah. I think it's funny what's happening with our cellular coverage. These towers going down. I think I'm more in the phase of one. They're gonna try to attack Trump and hurt him, maybe even kill him. God willing, it doesn't. And then number two, I think more and more in the lines of a cyber attack. Well, I'll have a
Mhm.
cyber attack and shut down the system, and then that'll create some type of military stance where we don't have an election here. Um, but right now, all your audience, they need to have three things in order. They need to have their physical condition in order. They need to be mentally in order, and they need to be spiritual in order. And I try to have all three of those. Those are things we can control. All
I
right.
think financially too.
And that's a good one too. Financial. So make it four. The four pillars:
Hmm.
financially, physical condition, taking care of yourself because the government wants to kill you through the food,
Hmm.
and mentally and spiritually. And those are the four pillars we need to really be stronger on, Ryan. And see what happens.
Man, it's been such an honor, Hernando. We got about 5 or 6 minutes left. I want you to tell everybody
Mm.
where they can follow you. Tell us about where you're putting out content, what you're doing. Tell us more about. And I want to hear everybody hear about your not just your crypto channels, because I know you're documenting those. You got a YouTube channel where you're putting out some crypto videos and documenting your crypto journey over there. So people that are new to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's down to 68,500. So I think we need to go buy some Bitcoin right after this. But
I'm ready. I got another deposit ready. I was gonna text you that anyway. I want to make another deposit. But listen, for your audience, and a lot of your audience knows me from my documentation. A lot of your audience are in the Bitcoin world, so they don't know who I am. But they can follow me on X, Hernando Arce, just like you spell my name below, Hernando Arce. You can follow me as I document the invasion at our borders, and you can follow me on Rumble, Hernando Arce, as well. And so, doing the crypto channel as well because it's a digital journal. It's a digital journal of my journey into this new ecosystem, and I'm so excited to be happy and to be a part of it. Thank you. There it is, Urban Crypto Cowboy. You can follow me there on Twitter, and I'm posting a lot of videos there as well. Thank you, Ryan, for this opportunity.
no, man, thank you for coming on and sharing about Strike, man. I've been so curious about this app, and
Mm,
I keep telling people about it, but I've never met anybody that actually used
mm,
it. I've been trying to get a hold of Jack, the CEO, to get him on the show for an interview so that he could
mm.
actually really dive into the nuts and the nitty gritty of it. But people like you that are willing to come on here and share their experiences, I think it's gonna motivate a lot more people to go, wow, I didn't know that, right? I don't have to set it up in
Yeah.
exchange. I don't have to go too deep down the weeds. I can just literally convert my paycheck like a direct deposit. Like it's the simplest thing in the world. So I think anybody and everybody should be doing that, especially if you're on a fixed income and you have $200 extra. You don't want that $200 extra sitting in your bank account at all. So put it into Bitcoin, buy yourself some Bitcoin. God bless you, Hernando. Thank you. Keep fighting out there, man. We greatly appreciate it. And Hernando is going to be in our documentary. So we're headed down to Texas around May 31st to June 1st. And Hernando is going to be joining us for some sit-down interviews. He's going to be giving us guided tours of the migrant replacement centers, of the American replacement centers. And God bless you, man. You're out there doing it, putting boots on the ground. Wish there was more people like you.
Thank you, Ryan, for God and country.
For God, country, and Bitcoin, my friend. God bless you, brother. Later.
Later.
All right, folks, that is a wrap over here on the Ryan Matta Show. If you guys want to support us, you guys can check out our sponsor, which is MyPillow. You guys can go to mypillow.com/Matta and get yourself 50% off everything store-wide. Actually, they have some specials. It's up to 65%. So I know we just passed Easter, but there are a lot of holidays, maybe for 4th of July or Memorial Day or Labor Day. You want to grab yourself some beachwear, some pillows. I got myself one of those nice American flag towels. They're freaking awesome. They're awesome. They also got dog beds, cat toys, a ton of different stuff over there on mypillow.com. Swing over. If you guys are interested in buying some Bitcoin, you guys live outside the United States, you guys can check out our sponsors, Bybit. Today's sponsor is Bybit. Bybit is your one-stop shop for crypto trading, crypto investing, buying, learning. I've also built a step-by-step digital course which teaches you everything you need to know about buying crypto on Bybit, and not just buying crypto on Bybit, but trading strategies, setting up crypto trading bots. Bitcoin is the best way to fight against tyranny, to fight against government corruption, to fight back against the Federal Reserve printing trillions of dollars and depreciating everything that your family has worked for your entire life. So get yourself some Bitcoin. You should at least allocate a small percentage of it to your portfolio. Yeah, that's outdated. You should allocate all of it to your portfolio. 100% Bitcoin allocation. Go big or go home, folks. Go big or stay broke as a fiat slave. God bless each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by the channel. If you guys are in the US, you guys can swing down below. Coinbase is the easiest place to buy that crypto in the United States, or swing over to Strike and do exactly what Hernando's doing. God bless you guys. We look forward to seeing you guys tonight. We got a lot of great interviews and a lot of great people coming on the show this week. So we're going to be diving into, I believe, next week, actually, we're going to be diving into cold storage wallets, and not just cold storage, but understanding how to set up multi-sig. What is the best way to do that? I got a gentleman named Ben that's going to be coming over here. He's an absolute legend in the space. And I'm really excited because I'm going to be buying a new Bitcoin wallet and setting up a self-custody air gap device that's never connects to the internet. I'm going to walk you guys how like the absolute safest way using multi-sig to secure your Bitcoin, so there's no chance in hell anybody's ever getting into your Bitcoin wallet. God bless you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. We out. Later.
Run.